In money matters, the rand is cooling after gaining strongly on Thursday, touching its highest level in more than 3 months and extending the previous day's rally. The resources index also increased, helping the Johannesburg Stock Exchange sustain its rally. Viv Govender is the portfolio manager at Rand Swiss, and he joins us now for the latest market moves. Viv, thank you very much for your patience with us. Let's start with an overview of what's driving the local market rally.
Yeah, we are getting a bit of positive effects from some really good inflation numbers from the U.S. especially. U.S. inflation came in lower than expected, both in CPI and PPI. That's been both consumer and producer inflation were lower than expected. That means that we are seeing a situation in which the main reason for hiking interest rates is kind of like going away faster than anticipated. That means that you might see less rate hikes instead of the two, you might see one, and you might see a cut coming sooner than expected. At 3%, the US is only about 1% away from, its target rate. And at one point in time, it was maybe 4 times plus the target rate. Not 4% away, but 4 times the target rate of 2%. And that means, the US Fed seems to be getting the balancing act right. I mean, we also are seeing reasonably strong jobs numbers, not great, but reasonably strong jobs numbers. At the same time, inflation coming down. So this is a very good sign, and that makes the market go up when you think of interest rates falling.
Let's continue with that theme, because with markets positioning for the end of the Fed hiking cycle, can we still expect the Fed to hike at the upcoming Federal Open Market Committee meeting?
Almost certainly. The next one probably will be a hike. The next one, probably a hike. So it's almost certainly, then probably, and then the expectations is for a stop. They did mention 2. Look, if you get more numbers that are like this, last one here, they might, not hike the second time. And I think the next thing to look at is when are they going to start cutting? They are saying not for a while, not till at least next year, and we even start thinking about cutting. But I think if we do see inflation come down again, and we do see, any sense of weakness in the economy while inflation is low, they might be considering the cutting. But I think the next one is definitely going to be a hike.
They sneeze, we catch a cold. What does it mean for South Africa if they do?
Yeah, look, I mean, if they do basically hike and we don't, then it's going to be bad for us because the rand will weaken. We're going to follow them and beat them. We can never basically take a step back from their hiking. So if the US is hiking 5, we're going to hike at least 5, maybe 6, but we can't hike 4 or 3. And because that'll be weak for the currency, there'll be some negative for this rand, the currency will weaken, and then we'll see inflation coming in anyway because currency causes imports to go up in prices, and that causes inflation. So we'll have to hike anyway. So yeah, we got to follow them or beat them in terms of the number of hikes they do.
Why do we follow them and beat them if we are a third world country? And I say that carefully, but we're expecting first world output.
Well, I mean, if you look at some third world countries that don't follow and don't try and do this kind of philosophy, look at Turkey. Turkey is a country that's a little more advanced than us, a little richer, a little bigger in terms of population, it's a bigger economy. But, they are not following this policy, and their currency has basically fallen out of bed. We're talking about 3 to 20 to the dollar, from 3 to the dollar, 20 to the dollar in a period of 6 years. We did that over a period of almost 3 decades. So which was definitely like us from about 18 going to 60 plus to the US dollar in a period of between now and 2030. So that is the kind of thing that happens to you when you don't follow these patterns. If you don't follow the market expectations and the market heuristics, the rules of thumb about what you should be doing around the interest rates, you get punished quite badly. And in fact, the problem that you sought to avoid becomes worse, which is inflation.
Okay. Absa has published a voluntary trading update for the 6 months ended 30 June 2023. Talk us through that performance.
Yeah, look, I mean, the number one thing I want to point out, I think, beyond just Absa, is that, the consumers are under pressure at the moment. They are talking about bad loans, increasing impairments. This follows on what the Standard Bank said. This follows what Capitec said. This follows what African Bank says. This follows on through what Tiger Brand says with regards to condiment consumption, what Shoprite says about regards to chicken consumption. The standard consumer is under pressure at the moment. There's no way around that. And what Absa is saying at the moment is that is true. And they also pointed to the fact that interest rates being as high as they are is hurting the economy. But unfortunately, like I said, we have very little choice about that. The Reserve Bank can't go out and buck the trend. Otherwise, we'd be seeing 20 plus to the US dollar. And then inflation, and petrol prices might be closer to 25, 30 to the US dollar. And that makes things even worse, So yeah, interest rates are negative for households, for people that are borrowing, but unfortunately there's not much the Reserve Bank can do about that.
Unilever will pay a 16 million rand penalty after the Competition Commission accused the multinational consumer goods company of anti-competitive behavior. Is this punitive measure adequate?
Look, I mean, Unilever 16 million is basically not that much here. They are talking about I think 400 million in a margin case that they have ongoing at the moment. This is obviously a situation where it's a major producer in the country. You look at the number of brands Unilever has. People don't know how many brands they basically most consumers don't realize how many brands that you consume normally. Everything from like Magnums to your shampoos to a whole bunch of other things that Unilever creates for you. So, I mean, this is important for us to keep under control of this. The greedflation term that's becoming popular recently, where corporations are using high inflation to kind of sneak through, price increases and so on. The only way around that, the only way to combat that is to have better regulation to make sure there's no anti-competitive behavior.
You speak of anti-competitive behavior. Sasol also marking up their prices, being the only supplier of natural gas in South Africa. Should much more attention have been paid to their operations?
Whenever you have a monopoly, there needs to be special controls around monopolies. Sasol, by definition, has a monopoly in these certain sectors here, and there should be better control about it. Free market is one thing, but even Adam Smith, in his Invisible Hand, hypothesis, The Wealth of Nations, book he wrote back, centuries ago, mentioned the fact that, the government has to be in place to stop this kind of behavior, monopoly behavior, overcomes the benefits of the free market. So we need to basically keep control of those kind of things. I mean, the market talk they talked about is between like 50 and 70%, depending on the customer. It's 50 and 70%, which is deemed to be excessive. On the other hand, what you must also understand is that when it comes to these commodity companies, when things are good, they make a lot of money. When things are bad, they don't make a lot. So if you look back at where Sasol was at the depths of COVID, they were like below 30 rands a share. That is obviously not a point at which the company wanted to be at. And so when things were very bad, obviously they were punished. When gas prices rose, like in the last year or so with the Ukraine and so on, they took the benefit of that. So there's a balancing act to be made. But I think there needs to be some more regulation around anything that's monopoly. If there was a competitor to Sasol, of sufficient size, then it wouldn't be much such an issue. Then, obviously compete in the market. But if there isn't one, then you have to have the government step in and take the role of making sure that there isn't too much price gouging.
Thank you very much, Viv Govender, Portfolio Manager at Rand Swiss.